For what purpose does the gentleman from California rise?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to speak out of order for 5 minutes.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today is July 7th, 2009. Today would have been the 24th birthday of my own nephew, William Lewis Issa. Last week I attended his funeral. He had a connection to this House because he worked both in Cleveland, his home, and here in Washington for his congressman, Dennis Kucinich. In his passing, I lost a nephew. Cleveland lost somebody who cared about the environment, who was passionate about wolves in the wild, who in fact had graduated from college and was going on to law school to be an environmentalist, to seek what liberty allows us in this country, which is the right to feel and do what you think is right for your country. Now, I speak from this side of the center of this body, and I speak about somebody who I disagreed with on many policies. As a young man, while he was summering here and staying at our home, he wanted me to know that the eating of meat was wrong, and that if I wasn't a vegetarian, then I wasn't getting it. And he admired Dennis Kucinich, who's a lifelong, or at least as an adult person, a vegan. And he, on a host of other issues, felt so strongly. But most of all, he felt strongly about the individual liberties, particularly his. Now, his choice was a Prius, and his choice was, in fact, to try to do and be everything for a sustainable ecology as he saw it. So when I thought about coming and using his nexus here to the House floor tonight to speak on what would have been his 24th birthday, I thought it appropriate to say that from the left, and he certainly was a child of the left, perhaps a child of the 60s reborn in a next generation, and from someone on the right, I wonder if we shouldn't come together the way this young man did with everyone he met and talk in terms of America's liberty. What, in fact, is this body doing, not to pass new laws, that wasn't what we were sent for, but to defend the inherent constitutional obligations, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I believe that he ended his life far too soon and without accomplishing what he would have had he lived longer. But tonight, I will tell you that I'm brought to the House floor for perhaps only the third or fourth time in 8 years, 9 years, to say that those on the left and those on the right, we need to recommit ourselves at a time when we're talking about regulating CO2, where we regulate the highways, the waterways, where we're looking at an 8% tax on health care to pay for the new health care proposal. Well, so much of what we once thought of as the free, wild, wild west of the United States has been changed, particularly post 9/11. I wonder if this wouldn't be a good time for men and women of good conscience on both sides of the aisle to say, shouldn't we relook at every liberty? Shouldn't we form a liberty caucus? Shouldn't Congress be dedicated to ask the question, not as Republicans or Democrats, but in fact, as Americans sworn to uphold the Constitution, isn't it time that we start looking at every single law we passed and the regulations they produced and find out how many of them we could do without? Not liberal laws, not conservative laws, but all of them. I believe that that is the highest calling for those of us here in Congress. And I will tell you tonight, perhaps as a small tribute to my nephew, that I will reach out and I will ask every Democrat I see and all of my colleagues on this side of the aisle, what have we done, in fact, to defend liberty? What have we done to give somebody the right to decide they want to spend three months with wolves in the wild, or that they want to, in fact, go out and save our delicate ecosystem from the unnatural twisting that 300 million people here in America bring upon the world? That liberty is important. It's important that we pay tribute to it every chance we have and can. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity to, in a small way, talk about liberty and a man who would have fought for it. I yield back.
Under the Speaker's